Got it.
Like going into Costco. Can't go into Costco if you don't have your mask, but that's because everyone's roaming around.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. And people make phone calls here, and it's, if you take your mask on and off all the time, that's kind of annoying.
Right.
Or for like you too. So
exactly. Oh, I think we're live on Facebook. We are. Ooh.
What up, Facebook?
It's funny. There's a delay on Facebook, so you're not talking right now, but your hands are like flailing around on Facebook.
I'll do that real fast because then you'll see it.
It's awesome. All right. So we're not live on the air yet, but we are live on Facebook. Good morning, Facebook world. That's the thing about the backgrounds. It's like hands, no hands. Hands, no hands.
You're a hologram.
Exactly. Yay. Dun, dun. So excited for phase 1.5. It was, we were east of the mountains over the weekend visiting my dad and his wife. It's like an alternate universe over there. Like restaurants are full, bars are full, people are playing music in the bars. It was great.
Just like old times.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've noticed that as I watch movies and I see scenes of crowded restaurants, I'm like, is that safe?
Right,
Right.
Exactly.
Because I forget what it's like to just go to a packed restaurant.
So true.
Crazy.
Yeah. But they're hugging.
Right. I know.
Yeah, they're hugging. How are they getting away with that?
So risque.
Right. They must be related.
I know a lot of people that are like, please don't let the handshake ever come back. Like, can we just like leave that one in the
Everyone
past?
does the pound thing anyways. So
Yeah.
That part's
all right, here we go.
all right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 425 Show, your place to be for all things real estate and lifestyle related here on the East Side. I'm your host, Nicole Mangina with Windermere Real Estate. Welcome to a phase 1.5, our first week of a new phase. Who went out and got their nails done over the weekend and has a hair color appointment in the next week? I know I did. I got my toes done over the weekend and it was awesome. So here's to new phases and new adventures. For real estate, what that means is now we can have 3 people in a property. Before it was 2. But so that 3 is actually super helpful because the 2, I'm the agent, so I'm 1. And usually when there's people looking for houses, there are 2 people looking for the house. So, I could go through with 1 person and then the next, which was okay, but a little bit cumbersome. And then, you talk about it outside of the house and you go back and have to look at what you're talking about. So now all 3 of us can be in the house at one time. It's a big win. So we're moving forward with that. That actual real estate offices themselves are opening up a little bit. We've all been working remotely, although I think from a client standpoint, that doesn't really affect you one way or the other because we've been doing everything remotely that we usually do at the office, and our staff is all still there to support us. So we're getting there little bit by little bit. Houses are still selling. Interest rates are phenomenal. There are some great statistics out there, it's always interesting to me, especially when I work with buyers. For the time that we are working on buying a property, it's all about the sales price, right? The purchase price. And I suppose for sellers as well, but really what matters is the interest rate and how that affects your payment in terms of the overall affordability of the house. Because as soon as you close on the house, the sales price doesn't matter anymore. It's the monthly mortgage payment that really makes a difference. And as the interest rates come down the way they have been, you've got substantially more buying power than you did before, and that's a pretty exciting thing. So if you have real estate questions, you're thinking about making a move, I invite you to reach out. You can always find me via email, nicole@nicolemangina.com. Happy to answer questions and help in any way that I can. And without further ado, I'm excited to introduce Sondra Firestein with us this morning. Sorry, got all tongue-tied there. With the Pursuit Concierge. So excited to chat with you this morning. I think it's perfect for always, but especially for everything that we've got going on right now. So welcome. How are you this morning?
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to chat with you today.
Yeah.
the world is, a little bit weird, but it's really nice to connect with new people. It's been a while since I've had a chance to connect with a lot of new people. It feels like my world is all familiar faces, and it's one of the big differences right now.
For sure. So tell us a little bit about Pursuit Concierge. I was on your website taking a look at all of the different services that you offer that I just think are fantastic. So I'd love to know a little bit more about Pursuit Concierge, and I'm always curious as to how you got started in it, because those are usually interesting stories.
Yeah, so at Pursuit Concierge, we help busy parents, families, business owners, corporate ladder climbers overcome the overwhelm with mindful delegation. So what that means is we're here to conquer your to-do list so that you can concentrate on your wish list. And what I like to tell people is, so long as it's safe, legal, and ethical, we can help find a solution for whatever is living on your to-do list. So it's essentially a personal assistance membership service. We're located in the Crown Hill neighborhood of, well, some people call it Ballard, if you know where Delancey Pizza is, or the Fat Hen, or Frankie and Joe's Ballard. Those are all our neighbors here. One of my favorite little spots here in this nook is the pantry, which offers great cooking classes. So we're located in Seattle, but our services are actually available worldwide because most of what we do is virtual personal assistance. We can help with you no matter where you are, which has been really cool to connect with people from around the world. The story of how it started, I moved to Seattle in 2012 to start my career in real estate. And I decided I was moving to a new town, didn't know anyone. I grew up in Berkeley, California, went to school at Boulder, where I met my other half. And he and I decided to come out here because we saw that Seattle had the perfect blend of the mountains and the outdoors with city and culture. And I knew I needed to supplement my income while trying to build my real estate career. So I also got a job working for an all custom event designer, and she was doing a lot of weddings at the time. Now she does more corporate events, but at the time it was weddings. So in my first year of living in Seattle, I was building connections within my real estate industry and within the event industry. And my clients were first-time homebuyers and first-time newlyweds. They were young, motivated, career-oriented adults that were trying to do everything right. They were trying to check all the big things off their list. They were getting married. They were buying a home. And what I saw was that overall, even though these are really monumental events in a young person's life, they were too busy to meet with their agent. It was really hard to get both of them to come and look at homes at the same time. It was really hard to get them both to come and meet with the wedding designer and make important decisions around that. And as someone that believes in spontaneity, I became a little bit concerned that if people were too busy for monumental events in their young adult lives, what happens to the smaller opportunities that pop up in our day-to-day lives? And what is getting in the way of allowing these people to just show up for the things that matter to them? And what I realized was a lot of what was getting in their way was just everyday stuff. They're working long hours, and when the weekend rolls around, they're just trying to catch up from the week. They're trying to make their meals so that they have a week's worth of supplies. They're trying to catch up on their laundry, make phone calls, all of that. Try to hire the home services that they need. And when it came to the real estate stuff, what I noticed was a lot of these first-time home buyers had always had the luxury of a landlord in their rentals. But when it came to buying their first investment, they didn't really know how to protect that investment. They didn't know who to call if they saw a leak in their gutter, or if the siding started to show some wear and tear. Who's the best person to call? And when you're buying a home in Seattle, that's a really hefty investment. And you want to make sure that you're doing everything in your power to protect that so that you can build that equity around it. So that's where the business started. Was I realized I don't really want to be in the wedding industry. Like, it was fun, but it's not my jam. being a real estate agent was awesome. I found that I was more excited about helping them envision a happy life within their home than actually going through the negotiation process. And so just recognizing that where my skill sets lied was connecting my clients with the landscapers and the roofers and doing the research on what social opportunities there are in this new community, especially for people that had just moved to Seattle for a job. I wanted to concentrate my energies on supporting them in a holistic way in their life and, taking a lot of the pressure off having to do the research of figuring out who to work with and making sure that they are connected with reputable vendors that we're going to do a really good job and we're going to look out for them. So that's where the business started. And it started with helping people protect their investments. But then over time, people started to ask if we could help with other things that started to reach beyond just household management. And that's when we realized that, like I said, so long as it's safe, legal, and ethical, we can help find a solution for you.
I think that's great. I think we all have that to-do list, right? That, and some people really I enjoy the checking off of the to-do list, but sometimes they just it feels so tedious, right?
Yeah.
We all have things in our life that we could use help with, but most of us aren't in a position, nor do we really have a need for like a full-time personal assistant. It's like we need some help. We don't need help all the time, every day. So this is a perfect alternative to that. I was laughing with a girlfriend the other day. I can't remember what was on the to-do list, but all those things that are on your to-do list that you'll get to someday. Well, we've had 3 months of someday.
Oh yeah.
With this shutdown. And let's be real, there's still stuff on the to-do list that we're just not getting done.
Totally. And the thing is that I think it's really important to remember that no matter who you are, no matter how much clout you have, no matter how much money you have, we are all dealt 24 hours in a day.
Yes.
And so the energy that you have is finite, and time is your most valuable asset. Money is renewable, time is not. And so when you're looking at all of the things that you have in front of you, whether that's the to-do list, the wish list, or taking care of yourself, being present for your children, being present for your partner, all of those things that you have to show up for are pulling from the same energy pool. And I think this experience of being in this pandemic is really important because I've heard a lot of people if I were just home more, this would be so much easier. And maybe at first, maybe in the first couple of weeks, you were super motivated to attack that list. But the reality is we settle back into our habits, and it all comes down to what are your priorities? Where do you actually want to be allocating your time and your energy when you have so many things in front of you to choose between? And one of the things that I see a lot is that people tend to neglect their wish list under this story that someday they'll get to the things that they really want to do. But in order to get there, they need to conquer their to-do list first.
Right.
And I'm really sorry to say, but that to-do list is actually never going to be done. Even if you delegate like crazy, that to-do list will continue to grow. And so what I really like to encourage people to do is really think about, if it were up to me, what would be the best way to utilize my energy? What requires my direct attention? Because there's so many things that we're faced with all the time that we feel like we have to do, but really someone else could be doing it for them. We just tend to forget that there's actually a lot of people around that can help. And you touched on it really well in that, a lot of us don't need ongoing support. Maybe there's waves of work, maybe, I don't know if your summer season is way busier than your winter season. And so maybe for you, winter, I got it. But summer's a little tricky because there's just so much going on. And finding consistent support that can ride those waves with you is really challenging. And in Seattle, it's very expensive to be an employer. In King County, it's very expensive to be an employer. And so finding solutions that can ride those waves with you are they're starting to be more. And I think now socially, we're reaching a place where we recognize if I try to do everything myself, I'm gonna burn out. So now what options are available to me to disperse this workload so that I can concentrate on the things that matter to me, whether that's social justice or being present for my children because they're not able to be in school, or even if they are in school, do they need my assistance when they're working on their homework? I want to be present for them and know that I have the energy to be there for them because all of these other distractions are taken care of.
Yeah, that's so well said. And I think one of the things that's actually even a little bit comical to me is, and you touched on it with, there's the time aspect of getting things done, but there's the emotional aspect of getting things done. And I see this a lot in real estate. It comes into play a lot with sellers of, really to put your house on the market to get the best result. There's a fair amount of work that goes into getting a property ready to bring it on the market. It's not, you meet with your agent, sign a contract the next day, the sign goes up and boom, you get 8 billion offers on it. There's a lot of work to be done. And I always tell my clients, I'm like, just give me the key and I will project manage that for you. Because while they know it needs to be done, the thought of actually getting through all of that when they don't know who to call for anything, it just you can just see them kind of glaze over. And so, but for me, I know who to call, I've got my people and we can bang that thing out so fast, they'll make their head spin.
Yeah, it's also really wild to think about, you have something on your to-do list. You're like, I know I need to do this. And realistically, it might take 5 or 10 minutes to do it. But every day that you don't do it, it grows in size in your mind. And it seems bigger and bigger and bigger. And how much energy is spent just thinking about, oh, I've got to do this thing.
Right.
And then it just drains you. And and then your brain tries to be super helpful and reminds you of all the things you have to do at 11:30 o'clock at night when you're going to sleep. And, it's amazing these tricks it plays. And it's also really, right now we have really incredible tools like Angie's List and Yelp, Google. All of the information is available to all of us, but there's so much, it's actually overwhelming and you can reach a place of paralysis.
Yeah, I think the sifting is overwhelming. And it's kind of a game. I remember years ago, I was trying to make a change to my website. And I am not a tech person. This is not my wheelhouse. But everybody said, oh, it's super easy. You'll figure it out. Well, 6 weeks into this thing, I have not figured it out. And my website doesn't work. So I finally called in some help. They emailed me back 45 minutes later. It's handled. That's $50. I was like, I was so happy to pay that bill. I laughed out loud when I got it.
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting to think about, what is your time worth?
Yeah.
When you're looking at, that's one of the biggest things that I hear is it's so expensive to pay for help or, but what's your time worth? And what's it going to cost? And are you the right person to be doing this research? And one of my favorite things, so coming from real estate, I take the liability aspect very seriously. You do not just recommend one landscaper because if that one landscaper chops down grandma's tree, that is your fault. So you always offer multiple landscapers, but more than anything, the goal is to empower my client with feeling like, okay, I've got a curated list of options and I get to choose between these options. So when we're coming with, if you need a landscaper, we're going to bring 2 or 3 landscapers. We're going to verify that they have availability, that the general scope of your project is within their wheelhouse. Generally, what's their price? Are they able to come out for a free consultation? And so all of those preliminary questions are answered. So when you get an email from us and you're looking for a landscaper, you have all of that basic information. And then you go, I'd really like to meet with 2 or 3 of them to see who I like the most. And when you're doing this yourself, almost always you're just going with whoever calls you back first, instead of really doing your due diligence to see, can I compare quotes? Because that labor, like you said, the labor that goes into gathering these options is so draining that by the time someone just calls you back, you're like, whatever, fine, I'll work with them. That'll do.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I said, I just think it's fascinating when you open yourself up to receiving the help and support from something like Pursuit Concierge. Again, if you're just tuning in today, we've got Sondra Firestein on the show with us today. She is the owner of Pursuit Concierge. And this is kind of your wheelhouse. This is what you help people with, whether it's locally or remotely, getting all those tasks done that are on your to-do list so that you can go live your life. And like you were saying, it's so beautiful. Whatever your causes are, and there's a lot going on right now that people want and I think need to be involved in. And this is how you make that time or create that time to be able to do that.
Yeah, and it's been really cool to see the ways that we've been able to support people in the causes that they believe in. We've got a few, so we work with small businesses, and we've got some leaders of these businesses that are really committed to creating anti-racist organizations. And so that means providing resources, not just sending these massive documents filled with resources, but actually sending books to their team to read and follow up on. And I don't know if you've been looking for yourself for anti-racist books, but a lot of them are sold out, which is kind of a good thing because hopefully that means people are reading them, but that means you have to dig a little deeper. And we've been able to support small independent bookshops that do have these books in their possession and make sure that we're buying them and sourcing them responsibly. We have been able to, amidst all of the social justice conversation that's coming up, we are still living in a pandemic, which means that people are really limited, especially if they have health issues, they need to stay close to home. We've been able to continue to offer in-person support for essential services. So being able to make necessary deliveries for families that feel really trapped at home, being able to support some of our clients' parents that are limited. And then, we don't keep things just surface. So a lot of people think that, okay, so I hire you to hire the landscaper and maybe go to the grocery store and it stays that fluffy. The reality is we're able to dig really deep, and we've been able to support people by actually finding the right ongoing counseling and psychological support that they need. So we've had some people that have been really struggling with their mental health through all of this and have needed the right resources for care, either for their children or for themselves. And we've been able to do the research to find counselors that can be available, that are within your insurance network, that are a fit for the actual internal struggles that you're having, so that you can show up more fully in your life, in your relationships. And it's just really, really cool to see the way that people have brought us in to help with that really deep work and not just the fluffy stuff.
That's pretty cool. I love that.
Yeah,
So
it's been really special.
You truly are a resource for people then.
I call us life customer service. We are life customer service. We are the one number you have to call for all things. And it is our job to determine, is this something that we do in-house? Or are we finding you the right third-party vendor? So some things we can do ourselves. We're a team of 2. We're tiny. Hopefully we're bringing on a third later this year, but I can't predict the future anymore. If I thought I could before, I definitely know that I can't now. So that has been a wake-up call. But we're really, really fortunate to be in a position to be able to help people in real ways and be that peace of mind for people. That's actually what we've dubbed our monthly membership fee. So to work with us, we are a membership, and it's $60 a month just to be a member. And that guarantees you 50 to 60 hours a week of coverage throughout the month. And I don't know where else you can spend that kind of money and guarantee that much coverage. But we call that the peace of mind fee. And we've actually found that some of our members, even if they don't use us every month because they're riding those waves of life, just the peace of mind in knowing that someone is there. They just have to shoot us a text message and we're ready to spring into action for them.
That's awesome. I love the way you've got it set up, that people, like you said, can kind of come in and out based on what they need. And, I think that's a super reasonable fee to just know that you're in. I know I've seen some things in the past where it's like kind of you almost have to commit to a certain number, like a bigger package on a monthly basis. And that can feel, I think, that can be tricky depending on what you got going on.
Absolutely. Like, I think one of a really common model is like, 10 hours a week minimum.
Right.
And for some people, 10 hours a week is not nearly enough, and they really do need someone full time. And, that's great, if that's what you need. But most of us are not in that position. And we very deliberately designed to fill that gap for folks that don't need someone full time.
Right.
When someone comes to us and does say, actually, I need a full time assistant, but I'm too busy to hire right now.
Right.
We've stepped in to help with that. We're not recruiters, but you can hire us to help manage your hiring process. And I will actually say right now we are helping a company fill an office administrator role. It's a construction company.
Cool.
In the first week that listing was up, 200 applications came in.
Oh my goodness. That in itself is a whole job.
Yeah, there's no way. If you're already overwhelmed and you're already buried, there's no way you can sift through that many applications. Now, of course, that is due to the recent massive unemployment rates. Normally, you're looking at like 40 to 60 applicants is what I've seen over the years. Still, you want to make sure you're finding the right fit for your household or your organization. And that means taking the time to review your options. And again, that's where I think a lot of people, they don't have the energy to really make sure that they're finding the right fit for them. They're just going for whoever calls back first. And that can be really dangerous when you're looking at trying to protect your investment in your home, or you're trying to find the right care for your children. You really want to make sure that you're finding someone that's a fit for you. And that's for the full suite of services that are available to us in the world.
Yeah.
And we are right now, one of the things that we're doing as an organization, when we're trying to figure out how we can be more responsible, is we are really trying to do our best to make sure that we're connecting our clients first and foremost with the best fits possible, but also how can we support minority and women-owned businesses? How can we support these small shops that maybe don't have the marketing budget to get in front of as many people, but they do really, really good work? And how can we empower our clients to use their dollars responsibly and support a business that's run by a Black woman intentionally, instead of not paying any mind to who's running which business? And that's one of the small ways that we can help support businesses that are not treated with as much fairness in our overall society.
I love that. It's the whole purpose of this whole show is getting people connected, but the whole concept of just thoughtful spending is always something that's been near and dear to my heart. And there's so many opportunities throughout our day and our life that we can positively affect, like you said, a business. We all have choices when we shop and do different things. And anytime you can do something that supports a local business, or just, somebody kind of at a grassroots level, I think is a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Here in Seattle, I mean, this is true nationwide, that most of us, the gift that we have to offer other people is our dollars. We don't live in a gift economy, right? We're all earning dollars, and then we get to figure out how we want to redistribute those dollars.
Sure.
And here in Seattle, there is a massive amount of wealth. And most of us, a lot of us are in positions where we've been raised in very affluent communities, and we continue to support, live in this world of abundance around us. So how can we shift the dynamic a bit and use that resource that we have of those dollars and allocate them in a way that gives other people the opportunity to grow and develop and create more opportunities for other people? And it's a really amazing position to be in, to realize that those dollars that you're spending anyways can be used really intentionally. And it's been really meaningful to figure out how, as an organization, can we be extra responsible in making sure that our clients have the option to determine where they want their dollars to go. It's always up to them to make the choices of who they want to spend with. But our goal is just to give them great options to choose between.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining us today. Again, we've had Sondra Firestein on the show with us today. She has Pursuit Concierge. We will have links to everything on the website after the show. I highly encourage you to check it out. NicoleMangina.com/podcast. Almost forgot my own website name. There you go. Thanks for joining us, everybody, this week. We will see you next Tuesday. Bye.
Bye.
Bam. All
Ta-da.
clear.